Sure. Yep, live. Yeah. Okay. So, hey guys, this is GKCS along with Rachit today. Hi. And we are going to be discussing about, we're going to be debating actually about whether software engineering requires more of competitive programming to prepare or whether it requires more of development in projects. So, this is a topic which is pretty close to both of us, and both of us believe that there's a middle ground. But just for the fun of it, what we are going to do is I'm going to be debating for projects, and Rachit here will be debating for competitive programming. So if you haven't checked out Rachit's channel on competitive programming, please do so. It's there in the description. It's a really nice channel. And so Rachit, I'll give it to you now.
Okay. Hello, guys. As you might know that my channel is filled with programming videos on data structures and algorithm, as I'm a big fan of it, and I do believe that it has changed my life a lot. So uh, we all know that in today's world, the software companies hire engineering students on basis of data structures and algorithms, and there is no doubt that people get pissed off because and there are a lot of memes that are also posted in this context that when the work that we do as a software engineer does not involve so much of data structures and algorithms, then why should we test candidates based on that? But this video is just an attempt to showcase your make you understand why is that recruitment taking place in this manner, and also there are some you can say some skills that you develop while you're doing CP that really gives you an edge when you are working as a software engineer. So just to state a few of the advantages of doing competitive programming, the top three things that are coming to my mind is your IQ level increases once you are doing competitive programming. Second is you write bugless code. It's not completely bugless, but your tendency to make bugs in a code is very less just because the way competitive programming works, right? You have to consider all the corner cases. So as a software engineer, when I am writing code, it's my habit and it's my intuition that when some things are not right, I know I just go around and check my code again to see where are the bugs, and it's really become a lot of easy. It really becomes a lot easy for me to find out where the problem is or why my code is not working. So your debugging skills and writing cleaner code is a really very strong point and is really appreciated because you are just a fresher and you have just entered the world of software engineering. So I guess I made 2 points. I can't remember the third one.
Interesting points though. I mean, we'll get to talking against and for also, but the few things that I definitely believe that developing projects helps you do is you have teamwork, inculcated in you. You talk to many people. You try to understand the way that they are coding and they are developing a system. On top of that, there are open source utilities that you learn about, stuff like GitHub and source management. That's another thing that just came up in my mind right now. That's one of the things that you can learn only by doing projects actually, because competitive programming, you might learn GitHub, but in that what will happen is you're just keeping that for reliability and checking differences, not for source control. So if you're joining a job as a software engineer, then you need to know what that job primarily does, and that is development. So
Makes sense.
That's one of the, I think these are undisputed points, the ones that you said and the ones I said, except that I'm going to dispute a little bit. so I think one of the things that you mentioned as
So we are into debate now.
yeah, I think we're in debate now.
Okay.
So one of the things
Let me just get started.
that's a lot of muscles there. But one of the things that you said is writing bugless code.
Yeah.
And what can happen is, yes, CP people who do competitive programming, they tend to write code with lesser bugs.
Yeah.
But it is localized.
Yeah.
So their code has lesser bugs, but without understanding the business use case, sometimes when you just write code, it doesn't help. So many times I have seen people who are really good at competitive programming. They're also very confident to the point that they don't take all the requirements. They just go, they code, and it turns out to be not expected. Not what is expected. The second thing is when you're designing APIs or software systems, someone else is using your code. So the way that they expect it to behave, it may not be the same way that a computer, a competitive programmer has written.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the points with
Yeah.
I think, side effects is what I want to say. Basically, there
Okay.
are side effects to
Okay.
uh,
Yeah,
programming
so
that way.
adding to, I will make one more point in your favor.
Yeah.
So, as a competitive programmer, I am not aware of the terminologies that a software engineer should have. I agree to that point. It might happen that he is writing some code which is working perfectly fine. There is no bug, but there are some security issues. Maybe he's exposing of some security credentials or something like that, right?
Absolutely.
Like competitive programmers don't know that connection strings or something like, so that's common sense, but it's
Right.
you don't you might not be aware that it's such a huge hazard if you just expose it, right?
Right.
So I agree to all those points, but the point that I'm trying to make is this: the audience for this video is college students, right?
Right.
They are not software engineers who are already working for 3 to 4 years.
Correct.
So my point is, when you're in college, the ultimate aim that you have that you should have in your mind is to brush up your skills.
Correct.
You should increase your IQ level, and you should tend to be good at programming. All these minute details, minute details, as in these are some details that will be covered once you enter the world of software engineering. When you're in a job, no one expects you to write such a code that no hacker can hack, right? And when you join a software engineering job, you are given a lot of training. So in Microsoft, it was the case. I don't know about other companies, but my
It was the case in Direct also.
yeah. So, but my point is, when you are joining as a software engineer, people know that you are a fresher. You are just coming out from college, right? They don't have that really high expectation from you to write code in a manner that is expected from a software engineer who has worked for 2 to 3 years. And these are some skills that you will learn in time, right? There are code reviews that are going on. All these things are those things that you will learn when you start your career as a software engineer. So, but my point is, when if you're making such mistakes even after some time, then that's your fault.
Okay. So fine, I agree. I agree. Of
Yeah.
course, that there is something that you need to evaluate, which is learnability, and computer programming helps you learn things faster.
That's true.
That's correct. But the thing is, if you're learning things on just one path, which is mathematics and logics, it may not be related at all to software development. It may not be related to like the stuff you said, connection strings, security. There's operating systems. These are things which exist and they have been built, of course, logically.
Yeah.
But there is some pre-existing knowledge you need to have, which projects can give you just like that.
Yeah.
Computer programming, is off topic in these things.
Yeah.
Most of the times. So learnability is good, but in what field, in what sector is that person really good at learning? Mathematics may not necessarily be the best in learning about development. And when new people join, it's a cost. It's a cost to actually teach them. It's a cost to train them and tell them things that they should probably already know. Computer programmers, I feel, are a big cost to companies. They're smart, they have long-term benefits, but that's an assumption right now. And in general, I feel like taking people who are really good at development might.
Yeah,
Change
but
the-
well, I disagree with you, because when hiring is happening, so it's not that they are hiring 3 or 4 people, right? When hiring,
Depends on the company.
so I'm talking about engineering students, right?
Right.
So when a company comes from all over India every year, a lot of engineering students, a fresh mindset is coming to the company.
Right.
And in that, you can never guarantee that there is a strong mixture of computer programmers and there is a very minute section of software engineering. Or of the students that do development.
Yeah.
So my point is, no matter what the composition is, the company has to have those trainings. Okay, so it's not that if the students that they had hired were already having that context of development. It's not that they are not going to do it; they are going to do it anyways. And also, when you are hiring to such an extent, the people who, let's say 100% people were doing development, but still it might happen that they were doing it in let's say maybe C Sharp, .NET or Azure, or maybe they were doing in JavaScript or something. But let's say the company that they might get hired in Grow first, and it's just an Android app. Right. Again, they have to have the training, right?
Correct. But the principles that they learned in software engineering will stay with them.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that yes, they have to do it because it is things that people don't know about in college and they're not expected to, like you said. But internal training happens.
Yeah.
General training happens.
Yes.
Training happens for the first 6 months when your code is getting pushed to
Yeah.
prod and a lot of reviews are happening, maybe some you're not getting access to the database directly and stuff like that. That can be, if not mitigated, it can be reduced to a large extent if people already know how to behave around software systems.
Yeah.
I feel like computer programmers, what's happened with most of them is they're so smart. They get a lot of they get a lot of attention in the very start.
Yeah. People are going to hate you for this.
No, but this is what I've noticed, and I'm sorry if I'm not picking on anyone. Neither am I picking on the computer programmers. Of course not. This channel is based on that, but um, it is very very in the limelight because it's so successful in getting people their dream jobs.
Okay.
And I think what's happened is people are putting them on pedestals right now, and they need to uh, you know they're doing well, but they could do better if they learn a little bit on development also. Of course, this is
That's
not for
true.
those guys who are not interested in. I'm not saying that computer programmers are not interested in development. Most of them are. It's only for those exceptional people who are on the other side who are very very interested in CP but not in
Mhm.
development that I'm talking about.
Okay, but see, the my point is, if you are a recruiter and you are going to a college where there are thousands of students, okay, and you have to hire, let's say, 5 or 10 people from there. So, how would you select them? My point is, if you want to hire someone, you want them to be smart, right? You want them to learn new things in a faster way, never give up. And if you are doing competitive programming, we all know that never give up is a thing that you always learn, because you have seen darkest of times when your rating is just going down and down, and still you never give lose out hope, and you come back. You always come back, and you do up solving in competitive programming. What is that? So up solving is nothing but solving those problems that you couldn't solve before. And this is the most strong point that I always focus on. Up solving enables you to learn new things, because reading new things with new concepts is really overwhelming if you have no experience in that. And it makes your life easier to face challenges in life. No matter what the challenge is, you always have the tendency, or your body is adjusted, your mindset is always adjusted to pick out the problem, remove the distractions, and stay focused on the problem and solve it.
Completely agree. I have to agree with that point. It's yes, and in fact, I find it a little difficult, at least intuitively, to up my level through projects.
Yeah,
You take a project and then it's relevant,
exactly.
and then how do you go for a harder project?
Exactly.
It's not very intuitive, and it's a absolutely valid point where
And
you are climbing.
you can make it harder. You can take it to the next step, but the time consumed
Mhm.
is very high, and you cannot test it. Let's say if you're building some app and you want to take it to the next level. Let's say you made some Facebook site, right? Now you want to take it next level. What can be the next level? The next level can be maybe add more features, like advertisements, like we have for Facebook video.
Right.
You can't, right? It's very difficult for
You could, but it'll be hard.
exactly. It
Yeah.
would be very time consuming. There's a lot of different stuff that you don't know about, and maybe there are softwares, but then you have to pay for them.
Right.
It's difficult to take it to the next level, to challenge yourselves to do the next thing. Or maybe you can talk in terms of complexity, and you might make your website more efficient. But then again, you need a larger audience to test your code, right? That it's
Right.
working smoothly or not.
Right. No, I agree that
There's a cost associated if you want to take it to the next level over there.
it's more. I absolutely agree. It's more intuitive to
Exactly.
use competitive programming to
Exactly. And if you're doing something, and if you're facing challenges, and then you pass them, and then you go to the next level, that's fun.
But
Okay.
I have one point. I agree with your points, but here's the thing. I don't think that software companies, when they go to campuses, when they're evaluating students,
Yeah.
it's not so much that they're trying to get the best students. They are trying, of course, they're trying to get the best students.
Yeah.
I shouldn't put it that way. You said there are 100 students, you have to choose 5 among them.
Mhm.
Now, they do not have the resources, which is both time and labor, to come there and evaluate each student deeply.
Yeah.
So what they do is they use a heuristic. They use something which is a rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Oh, he's smart. That means he's probably going to
Exactly.
be good at learning.
Exactly.
And they choose him. So now I think that the best way to choose that software engineering companies have found, and this was there for a long time, is algorithms.
Yeah.
Is puzzles.
Yeah.
Even when mechanical was the most dominant branch, they used to ask puzzles in interviews,
Exactly.
and it'll always exist.
Everyone wants smart people, right?
Yes, learnable, highly learnable people.
Exactly.
Yet, what the point that I'm going to be stressing on is,
Okay.
it does not necessarily mean that they're the best.
Yeah. They are not best
it's a
suited for
good-
the job. It might
Yeah.
be the case
Yeah.
that they have that has not even passed the criteria of the test is the best candidate for their job.
Right.
That happens. But see, losing out one such candidate is fine because they have to deal with the scale at which they are working. They have thousands of candidates. They can't evaluate each and every project. I agree to one point, which will be in your favor, is that there are sites like DoSelect, which are having programming problems, which deals with API calls, and then you have to fetch the data from some API, and then you have to program it, and then you have to output a result.
Okay.
So what this does is it tests your programming skills as well as your knowledge in the development.
Could you just mention the site again? DoSelect.
Yeah.
Okay. DOSE.
DOSELECT.
Okay.
So this was a new concept that I faced in third year. I heard about it, and it actually felt good that people should, if you want to hire students and you want to you want it to be automated, right? You can't uh, skim through their resumes, what projects they have done, what is the skill set. That's not going to happen. It's very difficult. Or maybe there are some machine learning, or maybe there are bots in future. But right now, there is nothing that can do automate this process for you. The best thing that you have is to have some programming contest where there is a threshold score, after which you can remove the audience which falls below.
So I agree that yes, that is computer programming is very useful for screening people.
Yeah.
But everything is an investment.
Yeah.
If you invest more, you're expected to get more returns. I feel like if we invest more in the recruitment process, when I'm saying we, I mean to say in general, all software companies. I'm not speaking for Director guys. He's not speaking for Microsoft. We're speaking in general. Software companies can, I think, invest more time per student to get a lot more returns. Now, what I mean by that is give them projects beforehand.
Okay.
Let's see how they do. Talk to them about that for 10 minutes. Also ask them technical questions. In fact, I think the trend
So
is
you are
moving.
saying there is no shortlistment criteria.
Yeah.
So let me just get this straight.
Sure.
What I am proposing is there are 1,000 students in front of you.
Right.
I have some tests where a lot of the disturbance is removed. And I'm sorry to talk in terms of calling them disturbance, but I am a recruiter and that's what I am supposed to do. So from those 1,000, I pick some students, and those students I know are good in reading problems and solving them. I know this about them, and now I'm investing my time, my precious time, because this is one college. I have to go all over India.
That's the thing. It's precious because we do not have enough time. We do not have enough evaluators.
Exactly.
Yes. So the current scenario is like that. But I truly believe that if you give people projects and you set the bar of, like you said, screening candidates, you don't need to screen all the candidates almost and just come to the top 1% and then, evaluate them individually. What we can do is we can go for the top 5% also.
Okay.
But then,
so your point is increase the bandwidth of students that are coming into the shortlistment list.
Yes, and through their previous projects and score them on that also. Once you do that, then you can evaluate even during the interview. Like people watch the resume, you can also have a look at the projects and try to understand how is this candidate doing. It could save time,
but you also know that there is a trend that is going on, and I think it's not going to change as for now. The least I can imagine is in the future as we go or move forward. The least that the change that we can see is only when even with programming problems, there are some questions that deal with the development work. Because I agree, doing project is essential because every candidate has invested a lot of time and there is a learning with every project. But as for now, I don't think there is some system where projects can be evaluated automatically. The best thing you want to test is programming skills in data structuring algorithms, as well as you can test them on basis of their web development concepts like HTML, CSS, REST API calls, and other things like that.
Currently, yes.
Which is in a process. So DoSelect and all these companies are talking to other companies that want to hire, and their contests are having problems of these types.
It is true. Currently, we do not have a centralized way or a clear way, standard procedure to find out how is this person at multi-threading, how strong are his database concepts.
Yeah.
And yes, everything is just an input and an output for
Yup.
CP test, and that's how we evaluate students currently.
Yeah.
But um, what is surprising to me is that when people who are solving puzzles all the time join an organization, they are almost immediately demotivated. Everything is different. Their competencies, whatever they were evaluated on, are completely different from the competencies they need in a job.
So just to get a question right, you are
Right.
saying that competitive programmers, if they are getting a job,
Does
there
not
is a drastic change in their
there's a
environment.
yeah there's a striking
Yeah.
imbalance in what is required and what is being tested. So I think that this is of course a logical thought. It's not having any data behind it, but I believe that
Yeah.
if you test them more on these things,
Okay.
you're going to get people who are more suited to the role that
Yeah.
you're applying for. So
Yeah, but as I said, we can't do much about that, as this is a change that we cannot bring. So
maybe we are in a utopian world, yeah, where everything's perfect.
yeah, so moving on from this, there is one point that is coming to my mind, which is about so see, try to understand the mindset of a student. If he is doing competitive programming, what does it tell you? That he likes
Just free time, yeah. Just joking, guys.
that that he likes data structures, algorithms, math, right?
Yeah.
You know all these things about him. And if he's really too much into it, there is a very high probability that he hates development side.
Yes, it's a direct correlation, yes.
Because they are drastically different. Over here, your logical skills are being tested. Over there, you have to Google, you have to Google copy
Don't
and
forget
paste.
Stack Overflow, yeah.
So there's a drastic difference, and this development side of work is not that challenging. We all know that. Even Google, you can see the extent to till which they test you in data structures and algorithms, and the kind of work is. It's true that even I attended one session from Anudeep in Hacker, and he quit Google that time, and he told me that the level till which they are looking candidates for, like they are really looking for awesome data structure and programs. Yeah, but the kind of work that he was doing was not up to that level. I'm not saying that it was nothing.
Yes, yes.
But it was not up to that level.
See, that's the thing. I mean, the way that we are measuring as awesomeness of work is nowadays because of comparative programming. I feel we have started measuring like, oh, are you handling a few gigabytes of data per second, which is probably not the way that we should think about work in general.
Yeah.
Work has many kinds of things. It has reliability, it has scalability. These things sound boring initially,
Yep.
but what ends up happening is when you're automating things, when you are saving thousands and thousands of hours of, let's say, farmers or people like that, you're actually making a very big impact. And then you also learn how to do it better and better.
Yeah.
So comparative programming, of course, is helping you make specific systems which are mathematically inclined. That
Yeah.
there are too many users here. How do I make it faster? But
See,
in
the
general-
purpose of both is different.
absolutely,
Exactly. But
yeah, I think yeah, thoda sa.
the purpose is different, right? This is competitive programming is a sport.
Yes.
Right. This is how our companies are running.
Yes.
Right. My point is, as a fresher, when you're in first year and second year, and you want to get a software engineering job, so there are two different things. You like software engineering, you want to get a good job. My point is, if you want to get a good job, then you have to do CP. Because currently, guys, how things are working is the companies are going to hire you basis of your data structures and algorithm skills. And apart from that, there are other benefits of competitive programming, as I mentioned, that you learn to face new problems. You never get demotivated. You might, but you know that this is what you're doing in competitive programming every day. You solve new problems that you have never faced before, and you are able to pinpoint the hidden observations or maybe the underlying algorithm which is behind that problem. And your analysis skills and your problem solving skills are increased tremendously. And this is really very good for you because as an individual, you are getting smarter and sharper. And let's say if there are two guys, okay, and so we know that for a common college student, first year goes in enjoying the college freedom. They're finally out of their homes and they live it, right? So first year is almost gone. Let's assume that. Now what we have is two candidates. Let's say John and Bob.
Okay.
So John is also in second year, Bob is also in second year.
Okay.
So what's going to happen after 1 year? Companies are going to come for placement, internships,
Yes.
right? So let's say now John likes competitive programming, or maybe he has started competitive programming, and Bob has also started development work.
Okay, so you're saying that there's two students.
Yeah.
One guy is going in the path of computer programming, one guy going in the path of development.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand the question which is
No.
building up here.
Okay, so let's say 8 months down the lane, John is blue on code forces. Okay. And
Okay.
he has a good understanding of he has good problem solving skills, how to approach new problems, which is what he would be evaluated on in few months. And here is another guy, Bob, who is who has learned, let's say he is a master and he has learned Android. Okay, he has learned JavaScript and he has also made some website and other stuff like that. Okay, now my point is, now there are 4 months.
I have a answer waiting. Yeah, but go on.
Now there are 4 months, and now Bob realizes that I will be judged on basis of my problem solving skills, on basis of my data structures and algorithms. Do you think that within 4 months he will be able to clear the shortlisting tests of the good companies that are coming? And even if he does, so when you are clearing a programming contest, also when you're clearing the interview contest, when you are interviewed again, you are asked logical puzzles, and competitive programming is again going to help you in that.
And yet, here's the thing. I believe that.
So
Yeah, go on.
So, according to me, in this case, when you are in second year and you are about to start, John has a clear, strong probability of getting a good internship. And when you're getting a good internship, you can get a PPO easily if you work really hard and display good positive attitude over.
Okay. I agree that in general, this is what is going to happen.
Yep.
But if a person has actually picked up development in their first or second year, congratulations for that. The thing is, do not think about short-term gains here. Probably you're going to miss on that internship. Probably, you won't be appreciated right now for what you know, because everyone knows that in the job. But 2 years down the line,
I can't see how you are going to turn this.
yes, but 2 years down the line, what's going to happen is you might be the guy who makes WhatsApp. You might be the guy who makes an app which is so useful to so many people that people can't avoid it.
No, man, but we all know what is the probability of such students, right?
We all know what is the probability of computer programmers actually, going into development. That's also pretty low. Actually, computer programmers enjoying development is low. I'm saying the same probability probably exists for.
If you are really into competitive programming, it might be very pissing off for you to work in the software world. And I have been there.
I'm not just talking.
I have been there.
I took an extreme example to just make a point, but actually it may not even be WhatsApp. It might be something which is simpler. You already know the concepts which the technical interviewers are going to interview on, and because you're good at that, because you're good at what people want, 3 or 4 years down the line, which is a long time, which might seem like forever then, but 3 or 4 years down the line, it will pay dividends in unimaginable ways. I know people who are working in many companies where they know nothing about algorithms, they know nothing about data structures. They don't need to, because they're really good at UI design. They're the best, and companies cannot live without them. So it's a different competency, it's a different thing.
But still, man, I think the probability of that happening is very less. So if you're having a choice, it's better to do CP and also have some working in that side. Because guys, even if you're starting in second year, you have 3 years. And 3 years is a really great time, and you can learn a lot of things. So personally, I have done competitive programming, Android, I have done Django, I have done machine learning, I have done neural network. I have done a lot of things.
Okay.
Just in 3 years.
Okay.
2 to 3 years.
Okay. That's great. And of course, I believe that computer programming does help people. Of course, we are doing this for the debate, maybe.
Exactly.
But I believe that there should be more focus on development than there is currently. Computer programming is important because it helps you build your logics, build your algorithms. And like you said, it's not like you just got up one day and said that I'm going to do the projects. You have been doing this for a long time. In the past 3 years, it's taken you to learn about machine learning and stuff.
But still, I think that it's better if you're looking in terms of engineering students, that good company. So everyone wants to be in a good company, right? Google, Facebook, Microsoft, right? My point is, if you have that aim, it's better if you do competitive programming, and once you get where you are, you should then try a lot in the development side, which will be very difficult for you if you have never touched software development in your college life, because it's going to be really painful for you to do that work. Because I had been there and I have done both in my college, and this is the only reason why I have the tendency of doing both and I enjoy both now.
It's true, but it reminds me of the time, the movie Three. All these things are based on
Yeah.
clear the screening, and then life is easy.
Yeah.
Do this, and then life is easy. I think computer programming has become a little like that. एक बार ये अच्छा rank आ गया, then you get a dream job
Yeah,
and you relax.
exactly.
But it's never going to stop.
That's true.
If you want to do what you like to do, just do it.
Yeah. So see, obviously, if you really like development and you really get pissed off with data structures and algorithms, it's difficult for you to do that.
Right.
But my friend, the sad story is you are going to get judged on that.
Yes.
In current
today's world, I agree. If you are not interested in either development and algorithms, and if you are interested in getting a software engineering role, because for whatever reason you want that kind of a role for now, the better approach, the one with the higher probability, is going to be competitive programming.
And I think we should talk about so see, students who like both will do both and they will do extremely well, like I have done.
Okay.
My point is now we should talk about those students. There are two categories: one who likes competitive programming and he is doing only that; one who likes software engineering only and who is doing only development part.
I'm having that guy.
My point is, what are the advices that you would?
I would say, don't look at something. Don't demean something. Don't look at it as, no, this is not important. If you look at development and say that this is boring, it's probably not the right approach. If you look at computer programming and say that, oh, these are just toy problems to play around with, but the real world doesn't actually need it, it's also probably not the right approach. Because using research and toy problems is the only way that humanity has gone forward. And using actual things is the reason why we are even alive. So both of them are pretty important. I would say choose a sort of a middle ground. Of course, you'll be inclined to one thing more or less. Just do that. But don't look down on something.
Yeah. So guys, this is a very bad attitude if you're having that. You tend to speak ill of the thing that you don't like. So in today's world, if you're working in good companies, this culture is very bad that you are telling that I like competitive programming, I like data structures and algorithms, and this work is nothing. So in today's debate, we might have gone down that line, but this was just for the discussion purpose. But my point is, you should have a positive attitude in both of the side, be it competitive programming or be it web development part. But my only point is you should do both of them, because as a software engineer, if I am working in Google Maps and let's say I'm implementing the problem of the shortest path from city A to city B, and let's say if I'm going to use the extra for that, as a software engineer, I should also know how is it working, because when I'm writing code and you know that Google is dealing with a lot of data, I know the time complexity of Dijkstra, and when I'm writing code, I actually understand what is going on, what is the time that is associated with it, and it is always better to know what you are working on and how the minute details behind that are working. And this can only happen if you're doing both.
Correct. I agree. Like, yes, if you want to understand systems deeper, you need a deeper understanding of both things, algorithms
and I
how
think
things are.
if you're prepared for both, then you do not even have to fear about interviews, that what they're going to ask.
Okay, there's some interesting questions coming up. I'm sorry. Yeah. Pushpendra Singh is asking, please ask what does he do for biceps? So Rachit has been gymming for some time, but I don't think we'll get into that. There's also some person like Sri Harsh Amur is asking, preparing for JE. Again, that's a little off topic, but also competitive programming. So how did you prepare for it?
For competitive programming?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, I was having some idea about C++ when I was in class 11th and 12th, but it was just limited to for loops, and I think I also knew about functions. Yeah, so I was knowing about for loops and functions, nothing more than that. And when I came to my college, first year was, as I had mentioned previously in today's video, that I enjoyed it and I wasted it. Then I wasted my second year also. So it was in my ending of second year that I realized that third year companies will be coming for internships, and I wanted to do well in that. So I started off in December when there was winter vacation, and I started doing CodeShare, and it was the best site. And as it was having that 10 days long challenge, right? Where you are having 10 problems. So I am a noob. I was not having any idea. And my friend said that there are 10 problems. And I said, how many days? He said 10 days. I said, wow, I will solve them. I will solve them, and I will solve one problem one day, 10 problems.
Yeah.
That was my first reaction. And I solved one problem, guys, in that contest. I solved one problem completely. And but my point over here is again that once the contest ended, I went through the editorial. I went through the next two problems that I couldn't solve. I read the editorial, I implemented it, and I submitted it.
Right. It's
This
basically hard work and the will to
In-
learn the new thing.
you can't imagine the learning that happened for a beginner like me using CodeChef Long Challenge.
Right.
In 3 months, I learned a lot of things. So in my guys, in my first long challenge, I learned about segment trees. That in my second in January.
Yeah.
In my
That's very
second
fast.
long
That's
challenge,
very fast.
and that occurred because someone insulted me in my college. So I was trying to get help from 3 to 4 students, and they were one of my seniors also. And I felt very insulted because they were not trying to explain me, and they were just trying to get rid of me. They understood what how it's going to be solved, and I just could hear some certain words like segment trees and shit. So next thing, so I took it very personally, and I made sure that I solved that problem in that ongoing 10 days only. And when I solved it, and when my performance was better than these 3 4 guys who had been doing competitive programming for 6 months, you can't imagine the satisfaction I got.
Revenge. Revenge is sweet.
Yeah, but I always believe in healthy competition.
Yes, of course.
If they are doing better, I believe I can also do.
And of course, you should always get personal.
So my point is that in if you're just starting with competitive programming, it's best thing to start with CodeChef long challenges. And yeah, I also solved a lot of problems on CodeChef, random problems. I solved them on basis of ascending order of difficulty, and I just made sure that I submitted 7 to 8 problems a day for a week. In that, I got familiarized with the input output concept, the long concept like 10 to the power 18 cannot fit in int.
Right.
So all these basics I got through with them in my first week.
Okay.
And slowly with the long challenges, my performance got exponentially increased. And the most important point that I want to highlight over here is if you are not a very good programmer, it's the best thing, guys, because even in a small amount of time, your performance will increase exponentially. Later on, things come to stack a bit of like stagnancy because
You're the plateau.
you have learned a lot of concepts. Now to do something better, it's all about your thinking skills and how what your IQ is, how fast you think, and all those things.
Interesting. For me, it was a different experience. I'll quickly summarize my experience, which was I got placed in a company called Morgan Stanley, and then I had a lot of free time.
Okay, so in college you didn't
No, I didn't do. I didn't even like. I liked algorithms in general, but no, traveling salesman was the toughest problem I had ever solved, I think. And that too in a very simple way. Then what happened is I was into projects, deeply into projects, and most of the companies liked the kind of projects that I did, which was information retrieval systems, things that have been going on since 90s was stuff that I was doing. And then I had a lot of free time. I started competitive programming. I found it to be a very interesting sport. And then I got placed in DirectI then. So that was my journey, and
that's awesome. But man, if you haven't done it before, and that's a really great thing.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's different ways that we have come to our places.
But guys, ultimately, he got where he is using competitive programming. And I think
development. He means he got that development. So, okay, there's Manjeet Pogat. If you can quickly just tell him what's the experience in the corporate world till now, because he's asked a few times.
Okay, I can tell you very easily that it's just because of competitive programming and as well as my tendency to cover even software engineering parts in my college life that I got the star award in Microsoft within 3 months. And
Is that public info? Okay.
yeah, so
Secret. कोई नहीं बोलेगा.
so the point is, when I joined over here, they were not expecting much from me because I am from electrical background, guys, and they were really amazed to see the speed with which I was working. So I never worked on C Sharp, .NET, Azure, or something like that, and it was completely new for me. But all my life, I mean, for past 2 years, I have done competitive programming, and what I have done is implementing things that I have never faced before, and it's really piece of cake to okay it's easy, to write code for software engineering work.
Yeah.
So that's how they got really amazed to see my performance and my dedication, guys. And my dedication was only possible because I had done software engineering work in my college life, because I had a lot of context in that field. I knew what are REST APIs, how things work, how I have to build an app. There has to be some SQL from where I'm picking data, I'm storing data. The API is communicating data from here to the application and all those things.
No, it makes sense that people with computer programming will have higher, learning rates.
Yeah. So
And yeah, you're a live example. The thing that I'd like to say was, for me, it was a sort of a different reverse thing. So I went from development to computer programming, and then I got shocked again when I came to the corporate world, where, oh my god, I don't like this. What's this? Can't I name variables A and then B? But it was again, I had to revert to that state of development, write good names, understand how the systems work.
And don't you think doing both of them, writing good names, cleaner code, is actually good, right?
It is good. It is good.
Now I feel satisfied if I am writing cleaner code that is perfect. It just gives me joy.
That's great. I think
Not
I think
to take it any.
No, it's great. So there's, I think someone is asking about languages. My personal preference is start with Python if you haven't started at all. If your course is asking you to start with C or Java, that's good. If you're having a course, because the teacher is going to teach you along with everyone else, so you can learn there. But this question is again that we get a lot: like, which language should I use?
Yeah. So
I
see.
Yeah. I'll just make a small point.
Yeah.
Start with Python if you haven't already started. If you're, if you're not programming till now, and if you are in a course, keep calm. When the teacher does teach you a language, you can pick on that.
Yeah. So see, all of our life we get all these questions when we are trying to enter a new world. You have all these questions. If you are having options, you want to know which one is better. Like when you just cross 9th or 10th, parents also get worried, right? Fifty ya Vidya Mandir, right? Even when you colleges also, right? ये वाला ID दो, वो वाला ID दो, ये वाले उसमें दो, उसमें दो. My point is,
I can't even, like, I find it so awkward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point is, अगर आप फिरती में भी जाओगे या विद्या मंदिर में भी जाओगे, it doesn't matter. Both of them are good enough. Both of them are having good instructors, right? It depends on you, your dedication, and obviously, if it, similar is the case with programming language also. If you know one programming language, any one programming language, it's fine. Because if you know one, you can easily learn the other one. So you can learn Python maybe in 10 minutes, I think. It's you have nothing to install. Python is really awesome because you don't have to install much, and
you just start printing.
Yeah, you can work. There's no ID required or something like that, and you can simply, the shortest code can be print hello world, right?
Yeah.
But in C++, you will have those header files. You will have concerns that what is this? I don't know what is hash include IOStream and something like that. But my ultimate point is, for every programming language, the structure is same, guys. There is if else condition, there are switch, there is a for loop for iteration, and there are functions, there are classes, there are structures. All programming languages work the same way. And to our level, where we are students and just entering this world, it really does not matter much which programming language you pick, unless and until you learn it in a very thorough way, and then you start using it somewhere, maybe competitive programming or maybe development.
I think those are some very good points. I also believe that the language, guys, when a person says programming language, take it literally. Okay, a language is just something that you're telling the computer. You're just communicating with the computer using that language. So don't be very focused on which language should I use. Should it be French? Should it be English?
Exactly.
Just use the language which works best for you,
Exactly.
which you're comfortable with. And
Awesome.
people take this in a very different way.
Yeah.
All languages have grammar. Okay, there's a reason why some sentence has to make sense. For a computer, there's a very specific way in which you tell it, if this happens, then do this. So, like you said, if-else statements will always be there. There'll be loops. There'll be declaration of variables because you're talking in terms of data with the computer. This language needs data, and think in terms of that way, and just tell the computer what you want it to do. Of course, you'll go wrong sometimes, but don't be so focused on is the language good enough.
Exactly.
You know, is our way of putting that language forward important? I mean, good enough. That's the more important question.
Yeah. And don't go about learning all languages. That I will learn C++ in this week, next week C, then Java, then Python. It's not no use, man. Learn one or two.
Yeah.
So according to me, the best combination will be having C++ and Python,
Right.
and then maybe having some knowledge about Java also. And they are pretty much similar.
Yeah,
C++ and Java.
I personally think about Java and Python, C++ and Python are similar because
Exactly.
one is a object-oriented language,
Yeah.
and the other one is a scripting language.
Yeah.
So if you have both of them with you, you can also go instead of Python, you can think of JavaScript also. Again, scripting.
Yeah.
So just take two languages if you are very interested in learning languages. Don't just learn languages for the sake of learning languages because
I think
Yeah,
we
when was
can
the last time
cover
that-
all those parts in some separate video.
yeah. Well, yeah. Actually,
Right.
we have gone on about this for quite some time. So
The purpose of this video has been solved.
yeah, I think we have. It's been a pretty good talk.
Yeah.
with
I enjoyed
Rachit here. Yeah, I did too. And you can leave your comments below. What do you think is more important? It'll always be development for me. No, but I think it's a middle path. I think Rachit also
Yeah,
agrees on.
you should do both.
do both.
The
Okay,
only
guys.
point is,
Yeah.
if you're in first year, you should do development at that point of time, and then you should start with competitive programming also, so that when second year is ending, you have the command over your problem solving skills, and you can get a better job for internships. That boosts your confidence, resume, everything.
So there's some questions which I'm seeing here, but they are things that we can take off the chat also. You can post them in the comments. There's some on Google Code Jam and stuff. Interesting. So we'll see you next time then. All right, Rachit, good debate.
Thanks.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Okay. And the broadcast ends.